I'm known on this channel for playing Monster Hunter now, but I've actually been a Monster Hunter fan since all the way back in 2004 with Monster Hunter 1. I've beaten 1, if not 2 games in every generation, but there's one big game that I've never tackled, Generations Ultimate. And now that we know that the release date of Monster Hunter Wilds is February 28th, the 6th generation is on the horizon and it's approaching quickly. So while I'm still gonna make Monster Hunter Now content, I'm gonna commit myself to beating Generations Ultimate before Monster Hunter Wilds comes out. The goal is to defeat every single monster in the game by any means necessary, and there are 129 of them in this game. And honestly, I don't know if I can do it in time. So I hope you'll join me, hunters, both in-game and in the comments, to help me close this lost chapter of my Monster Hunter journey, because I won't be able to do this alone. So, let's get hunting. I woke up in the beautiful Bherna Village, a cool, sunny, windswept mountain village. As I stepped into this new village, I was greeted with the gracious hospitality of my new hosts. I explored my new home, immediately picked out my dual blades, picked the aerial style to match my real-life movement style, met my new palico, Spike, met all the villagers, and set out on my very first hunt, to gather ferns in the Jurassic frontier. I explored and took in the beauty of this place. I gathered, and I took out my very first small monster, Macau. You see, the 129 monster count that I explained earlier includes small monsters. So while I will be slaying them, that doesn't take very long. So I'll be focusing on the 93 large monsters in this game. That includes classics like Yi and Kutku, to the Fated Four and their variations, as well as Elatrion and all 3 Fatalis. So I'll need to hunt 4 to 6 large monsters every single time I play, which sounds pretty easy, but the closer we get to the end, the harder it is to unlock and fight these monsters. So I've got a lot of work ahead of me. So I took out the other small monsters nearby, felines and Bonabra, I collected the rest of the ferns, and I finished my very first quest in Generations Ultimate. I made it back to the village, ate some food, kissed my Mufa, and headed back out into the Jurassic frontier to take on my next 6 quests. These quests had me gathering mushrooms, gathering bones, gathering bugs, mining, as well as taking out a certain number of small monsters like Macau. Along the way, I took out my next small monsters, Larinoth. Okay, maybe it's not that small. Jaggy, Kelby, except even though you knock out and carve Kelby, they get back up. These immortal deer are terrifying. And a Malinx. After that, it was time for my very first urgent quest, hunting a great Macau. This quest was submitted by the Bherna Chief, and he said,
We've had a request come in from the Y Academy, asking you to hunt a great Macau. The beast has been terrorizing their research team. Take care of it, and you'll be able to take on more difficult quests.
As the chief explained, urgent quests are quests that are particularly difficult for your current hunter rank, or quests that need to be taken care of immediately to help the village, the Y Academy, or the guild. Once you finish them, you rank up to the next star level of difficulty, and are permitted to take on harder quests. So I accepted the quest, searched the wilds, and found the beast. But then, something devastating happened. Spike stole my kill. See, for this challenge, I must be the one to slay or capture the monster. So while this counts for my urgent quest, it doesn't count towards my monster count. At this point in our relationship, Spike was more of a reluctant participant in my hunts rather than a partner. It's because of his past. You see, Spike was a city cat that had gotten the wrong crowd when he was younger. He got into a gang of Malinx and was pushed into a life of crime. culminating in a giant feline gang war put on by the King of Cats. And Spike came out on top, granting him the ability to become the new Linian King. But he didn't accept the crown, because he felt like he was forced into this situation. He didn't want that life, unless he truly earned it. So, Spike joined the Y Academy as a Malinx mercenary to put his skills to good use and hopefully earn his title for himself in his heart. Because of this, Spike is rough around the edges and not quick to trust or cooperate. All he knows is that there is a mission, and the mission needs to be completed no matter what. Hopefully, he'll learn to trust me in time and let me be the one to finish the quest. But for now, Great Macau remains off my list. When I got back from the quest, the chief researcher of the Y Academy was waiting for me next to the village chief. He explained that the other villages in the region were requesting my services and that I should take the airship to them. I guess it's the airship that didn't get destroyed in the intro. But for now, I decided to stay in Bherna and adventure from there. Because with my new star level, I unlocked a quest that triggered so many memories for me. The Liver of Legend. I spent so much time as a teenager trying to finish this mission, wandering in the heat, hoping that a stupid Cephalos would jump out of the sand long enough for me to slay it. Then, hope that I could carve a specific liver out of them before the mission timer ran out. When I tell you that this mission took me actual weeks to finish back in Monster Hunter 1, I am not joking. But this time, I finished it in no time at all. It's a great example of why I try to stay humble and try to be empathetic to any new players of Monster Hunter. Sometimes us veterans forget just how hard Monster Hunter can be at the beginning, especially if you've never played any game like it. Once I finished that mission, I challenged their boss, the Cephadrome, and this too was a challenge for me as a teen. But it wasn't too hard until my low-level armor and my lack of experience in GU failed me, and I got my very first cart. To a hip check of all things. But he would regret disrespecting me like that. After that, I took the time to slay Great Macau again, and took it out really quick, confirming the slay for myself. And then, I took out a Rhinophilos, Genprey, Gendrome, and Hermitar along the way. Then, I decided to take the airship to a village that I hadn't visited since back in the PSP days, Yukumo Village. This, in turn, took me to a new questing land, the Misty Peaks. This is such a beautiful, peaceful place, so I took a moment to rest by a waterfall. Until I was disturbed by a Jargia. So it was time to add him to the list. I quested some more in the Misty Peaks, carving special Yukumo wood, taking out Mini Bullfengo, and Azuros, and taking some time to properly relax in the Yukumo foot bath before crafting my first new dual blades, the Yukumo Duo, which I wanted because of the green sharpness, which will allow me to bounce off of monsters less, and also gives me a 1.05 damage multiplier when it's sharpened to its green sharpness. Then, I chatted with some familiar faces from previous adventures and generations, took out a few Ludroth, and grinded through a few more Argyros, sent Spike out on his very first Prowler mission by himself, and visited a new location, the Hunter's Hub. Here, I did some more grinding and took out some Gargwa. Then, I crafted some new armor. This mix set gave me Gathering +1, which sometimes raises the number of times items can be gathered at gathering points, and Critical Eye +1, which increases my affinity by 10%, meaning 10% of the time, my attacks will do 125% damage. Both extremely useful skills at this stage of my journey. And then, it was time to go back to the village where it all began. Kokoto Village. Both the village chief and the guild maiden assumed I was nothing but a greenhorn, and tasked me with their very own beginner-level quests in the Verdant Hills. In these, I took out Aptonoth, Velospray, and Velocidrome. When I got back to the village, I hired a second Palico that specializes in traps, the Golden Palico, Franco. I then spent a little time in the Verdant Hills and the desert just grinding, fishing, and remembering small details like waving to the balloonist to reveal where the quest monster is for a short period of time. This was purely for nostalgic enjoyment of the game and was genuinely amazing for me. After enjoying myself in grinding, I was a little lost for what to do since I wasn't looking at any key quests online. Because, if you don't know, there are specific key quests in this game that you have to do at each star level to trigger your next urgent. But, since I didn't know what to do next, I visited my most nostalgic village and the final one that was available for this game. Poke Village. Entering this village felt like coming home, because this is the village I've probably spent the most playtime in out of any game in the series. But to my surprise, there weren't any new quests available by coming here, and no sooner did I arrive, I checked Bherna Village and realized I had already triggered the next urgent quest, and I could only accept it from Bherna. So off I went to take on one of my favorite monsters, the Demon Frog, Tetsukabra. This fight was like riding a bike. I was having a ton of fun until I overestimated my aerial invulnerability and carded to a rock smash. But that was okay. I was confident in my ability to take down this frog. So confident that I tried to hero carve, or hero gather in this case, which is where you gather or carve a tail or a broken piece of a monster while the monster is still in the area or right in front of you. He took this as a personal insult and took me down again. This made things serious, because I did not want to make this my first true failure and triple cart. So it was time to go hard. His paintball wore off while I was gone, so I had to search, but once I found him, I used every tool I had to take him out. And just when I had him limping and on the ropes, tragedy struck.
No, please don't. Franco, no, please, Franco, no! No.
This time, Franco had stolen my kill. With that, it was time to take a break and rest. Please throw me a like for my troubles. In the next episode, I will redeem myself.